everybody, this is Lindsay from windingrowcrochet.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make these very pretty wrist warmers. If you like this tutorial, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. So for this project, you're going to need a size 4 yarn, roughly 108 yards, a size H or 5mm crochet hook, and I am using stripes using a variegated yarn and a white yarn for this one. We are also going to be making a small adult or a woman's size in these fingerless mitts, but there are sizing on the actual blog post on the written pattern for toddler, child, tween, small adult, and a large adult size. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and to do so we just need to make a slip knot, insert our hook, and we'll begin by chaining 10. I'm going to apologize ahead of time, there is some camera shake later in the video. My kids were being very rowdy while I was recording this. So once you have your 10 chain, we are going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook. And we are going to single crochet in every chain across. So you should have a total of 9 single crochet. Once you finish your 9th single crochet, we'll begin row 2, and we will be repeating row 2 several times. We're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going to work into the back loop only of our single crochets. So down the center of the stitch and out the back, just with 1 loop over your hook, and then complete your single crochet. This is what they call working in the back loop only, and it's an absolutely wonderful way to create a beautiful ribbing and crochet. So I'm just going to single crochet in the back loop only of each stitch across. And then when you complete row 2, we're just going to repeat the process. So we're going to chain 1, turn, and again, working in the back loops only, we're going to single crochet in each stitch across. And you want to continue repeating row 2 until you have a total of 28 rows. This will create the cuff of our wrist warmers. So I'm finishing row 3, I'm going to chain 1 and turn, single crochet in the back loops only all the way across, and then keep repeating this until we have 28 rows. Once you've completed all 28 rows, take your cuff, fold it in half, and we are going to slip stitch the last row to the first row. So insert your hook into the back loop only, and then find the first chain of our foundation chain, go through that, and slip stitch together. So again, I'm going into the back loop only. I'm finding the next chain, going under that, yarn over, pull through all the loops on our hook, and just keep doing this all the way across. This is a great way to join 2 rows together without having to sew them. So I'm just finishing up that last slip stitch, and right now our seam is on the outside, so we're just going to turn our cuff so that the seam is on the inside. I'm also turning my work so that I can continue working around, pushing my hook into the center of the cuff. So you're going to chain 1 here, and for our next row, we are going to half double crochet in the side of each stitch around. So if you remember, we have 28 rows here, so we should be working a total of 28 half double crochets. When you make it all the way around, we're just going to slip stitch to the very first half double crochet. Now actually I'm going to take out my slip stitch because this is where I'm going to start my stripes. I'm using Red Heart pooling yarn that works really well for this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my color during that slip stitch. Just tighten up my yarn and we're ready to do the next row. So I'll chain 1. We will no longer be turning, we're working in the same direction. We're going to work a half double crochet, but this time we're going to work into the 3rd loop. So here's the front loop, the back loop, turn it forward, and in the back you'll find a third loop. Sometimes it's also known as the back middle bar. So you're turning your work forward, finding that third loop. And now we're just going to half double crochet in each stitch around, but working in the third loop. And from now on, anytime you use your colored yarn, if you're using it, your colored yarn will always be worked into that third loop, while our white yarn for the majority of the rows will actually be worked as regular half double crochets. Again, when you reach the very end of the row, you are going to slip stitch to the very first half double crochet, and we are changing our colors again when we slip stitch. So we will chain 1, and then since we're working with white, we're just going to do regular half double crochets in each stitch around. And I would definitely recommend counting your stitches every few rows just to make sure you're not adding or losing a stitch. But you should have 28 stitches in every single row that we're working. Again, when we reach the end of the row, we are just going to slip stitch the very first half double crochet, changing colors as we do so. And then at this point, all we are going to do is repeat rows 2 and 3 twice more. So you're just going to repeat row 2, repeat row 3, repeat row 2 again, repeat row 3 again, and then we'll be ready to work our little thumb opening. So to do that again, we're just going to chain 1. We're working with the colored yarn, so we're working into the third loop with our half double crochets. And then when you work with your white yarn, you will be working regular half double crochets. So keep repeating those 2 until you have a total of 7 rows in the hand section, not including those cuff rows. So as you can see here, I have repeated those 2 rows twice more. And just something to be warned of, the seam here likes to get angled a little bit. All you have to do is just kind of pull it over. It's such a slight angle, it's not worth doing anything fancy to get rid of. But now we're ready to work that first row to create our thumb hole. So we're working with our colored yarn again. So we're going to be half double crocheting into that third loop. So chain 1, half double crochet into the first 12 stitches, again into the third loop. Once you've worked those first 12 stitches, now we are going to work a chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We are going to skip 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then again, working into the third loop still, we're going to continue half double crocheting around in the third loop. So you should have another 12 half double crochet to reach the end of this row. So once again, when you reach the very end of the row, you are just going to slip stitch to the very first half double crochet, and we are changing colors as well. So now we're going to chain 1, and we are going to half double crochet in each stitch around. And when I say that, I include the chains as a stitch. And then when you reach your chain 4, we are just going to work a half double crochet into each chain. I'm working into the chain. If you want to work 4 around the chain, that is fine as well. And when you reach the other side of the chain, you'll just continue working half double crochets in each stitch until the end of the row. Definitely make sure you count your stitches. It's a little easy to add and lose a stitch on this row. Again, you want to have a total of 28 half double crochets. So when you finish this row, you have a nice little thumb opening. And we're just going to slip stitch to the next stitch. And what we're going to do is we're going to be repeating our pattern twice more. So repeat rows 2 and 3 twice more. So to do that, we're just finishing up with a slip stitch. changing our colors as we go. The next row will be a chain 1 and then half double crochet in the third loop all the way around, followed by a row that's half double crochet all the way around, and then repeat half double crochet in the third loop all the way around, and then half double crochet all the way around again. And that will finish up our rows of stripes. So I've completed row 13. We just repeated rows 2 and 3 twice more to create 2 more stripes. And now we are done with our colored yarn if you're using one. And I'm just going to finish up using the white, making a few nice rows at the end to just kind of give it a nice finish. So I'm going to slip stitch to the very first half double crochet. And then we're just going to create this nice little finish at the end, working some rows using the white but in the third loop. So we're going to chain 1 and we're going to push our hook underneath that third loop and just half double crochet in the third loop all the way around using the white. And then when you reach the end of this row, you are just going to slip stitch to the first half double crochet, chain 1, and repeat that row. So again, we're just half double crocheting into the third loop in every stitch around. When you reach the end of row 15, we are just going to make a slip stitch in the first half double crochet. We are going to fasten off our yarn. Just yarn over and pull through that very last loop. Pull that tight. Now you're going to want to weave in your ends and make a second wrist warmer exactly the same way we made the first one. And once you do that, you'll have a beautiful pair of wrist warmers. You might want to block it a little bit to straighten the seam, but other than that, you are completely done. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and you can check out the written pattern if you want to make any other sizes of these fingerless mitts. And as always, thank you so much for watching.